Storing 1 gigabyte of data cost $10 in 1998. Today it costs 2 cents. That is a 99.8% collapse in 25 years. And yet Microsoft just raised its cloud storage bill by 43%. Your iCloud bill went up. So where exactly is that cost savings going? Not to you. Here is the mechanism that explains why. But the strange part is not the price. It is who designed the trap and exactly when it closes. The first gear is the free tier, and it is not a gift. It is a trap with a timer. Apple gives you 5 gigabytes free. The average iPhone photo library is 20 to 30 gigabytes. Google gives you 15 gigabytes free. Gmail alone eats 10 to 12 for a moderately active user. These numbers are not accidents. The gap between what is free and what you actually use is engineered to be crossed within months. The raw cost to Google of providing that free storage is roughly 0.2 of a cent per gigabyte per month. They absorb it willingly, because by the time you hit the wall, your photos, your documents, your irreplaceable memories are already inside their system. Then the upgrade prompt arrives, not for generic files, for the stuff you cannot afford to lose. That is when $2.99 a month stops feeling like a decision and starts feeling like a ransom. In June 2021, Google ended its unlimited photos offer. Users who had spent 6 years uploading and deleting local copies suddenly sat above the new cap. Google One went from roughly 6 million paid subscribers in 2018 to over 100 million by early 2022. Infrastructure costs over that same period fell continuously. Turns out the free tier was never about storage. It was about the moment your data became too valuable to move. The second gear is the exit door, and it has a toll. That sounds like a simple fee until you see who actually pays it and why it exists. Uploading your data to any major cloud provider is free. Downloading it back out costs 0.008 to 0.09 per gigabyte on AWS and Google Cloud. 1 terabyte of photos, realistic after 10 years of iPhone use, costs $80 to $90 just to retrieve your own files. That fee has no relationship to actual infrastructure cost. Moving data internally costs providers a fraction of a cent per gigabyte. The fee exists for one reason: to make leaving more expensive than staying. Cloudflare named this explicitly when it launched R2 storage in 2022, calling incumbent egress fees an abuse of market position. And here is why competition does not fix it. AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud control 67% of the market combined. In a 3-player oligopoly, no one benefits from a price war. Each firm watches the others hold prices and correctly concludes that cutting its own would only be matched, destroying margins without gaining lasting share. This is not illegal coordination, it is rational game theory. That is exactly why the normal market correction does not happen here. The first gear loads the trap, the second gear locks it. Together they answer the question from the beginning. Storage gets cheaper, your bill stays high because you were never really paying for storage, you were paying for the exit. There is a third gear. The hidden part is not the server. It is the business model underneath the upgrade. When raw storage costs fall far enough that a stable price looks embarrassing, providers bundle in software and reprice the whole package. Microsoft raised Microsoft 365 Personal from $69.99 to $99 a year in January 2025, a 43% increase by attaching Copilot AI to the plan. Analysts noted that Copilot had already been free to Microsoft 365 users for months before the increase. The 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage in that plan costs Microsoft roughly $20 to $25 a year at enterprise rates. You are now paying $100 for $25 worth of storage, repackaged as an AI subscription. The causal chain is clean. Storage becomes a commodity, margins compress, provider bundles a high perceived value AI feature with storage, raises the price on the whole package. Users who want their existing files must pay for features they may never use. That is exactly the point. Once storage is the commodity, the business model shifts to selling you the wrapper around it. Backblaze publishes its actual drive costs and charges consumers $9 a month for unlimited backup. 60 to 70% cheaper than comparable Apple or Google tiers for large libraries. It exists, it works. Most people have never heard of it. That gap between what a cost-competitive provider charges and what dominant platforms charge is the margin the lock-in mechanisms protect. The insight that matters, the time to choose your provider is before you cross the data gravity threshold. Once your photo library and device backups are inside one ecosystem, the switching cost is not just financial. It is a weekend of your life and $80 in egress fees. Before that point, you have leverage. After it, the platform does. Storage costs 2 cents per gigabyte to provide. You pay 10 to 20 times that, and the gap is widening. Not because data centers are expensive, because three interlocking mechanisms, a deliberately undersized free tier, an asymmetric exit fee, and AI bundling as a price hike wrapper, make the market's self-correction functionally inoperable. The infrastructure got cheaper. The business model got better at capturing the difference. If you audit your subscriptions today, the question worth asking is not what you are paying, it is what it would cost you to leave. If this changed how you see your subscriptions, subscribe. New video every week.